Sometimes your riding buddy shows up in a tutu. I'm okay with that. Motorcycling gives you the opportunity to be something you're not. For example, I don't think my riding buddy is a ballerina. But when she's on her motorcycle wearing her tutu, all bets are off. When I was a kid, I wore a lot of bracelets. I'd regularly wear 2 different color sneakers, one pink, one yellow. People used to call me an Easter present. I wore a button that said Dump Nixon, and I was in a band called Broken Llama. I just didn't give a shit. Sometimes it was fun to just play with people's minds. You know what I mean? Then I went to college. I went to a communications school where the emphasis was on expression. People did a lot of drugs. This is basically what it came down to. Though getting high wasn't necessarily my thing, it was fun to be around people who were stoned out of their minds all the time. Just didn't care who you were, how you dressed, any of that. That was all fine and good until I graduated and had my first job interview. I showed up in this ratty shirt and jeans and hiking boots. I'll never forget it. I didn't get that job the first time. The editor of the newspaper ended up calling one of my college professors saying, "Who the hell is this guy and why did he show up dressed like that?" Thankfully, my professor, Carolyn, knew who I was and what I was about and knew that I had some talent and convinced this guy, for whatever reason, to hire me. So I had to go out and buy ties. Dear God, ties. I didn't even know how to tie a tie, to be honest. But I learned, and I went to work, and became an adult, I guess. You ever meet people in your day-to-day life who just live to conform and be like everyone else? That sounds so boring to me. These are the kind of people who have to have the same car as their neighbors, or maybe one that's slightly better. Their grass has to be green or greener than their neighbors. Their kids have to be perfect. Their job has to be perfect. They've got to be perfect in their own minds. Ugh. That first job that I had where I had to wear ties and shit, I was a reporter for a small newspaper in New Hampshire. I covered a bunch of small towns with small town politics and small town people. I happen to live in Laconia, and if you know anything about Laconia, you'll know that every summer there's a massive meetup of big Harley-type guys who bring their motorcycles up north and do what people do on Harleys. I was moving into my apartment, and I had a couch in a U-Haul. Me and my buddy took that couch, we put it on the front lawn, and we sat there for hours drinking beer, watching these guys go by, dressed in their leather chaps and their vests and their Loud Pipe Save Lives stickers and all that stuff. We got a kick out of it. Maybe we made fun of it a little bit. But I'll tell you, both of us ended up on motorcycles. So maybe there was something about it that sparked something in our brains that said, hey, it's actually not as silly as it looks. The truth is, we were watching a bunch of folks who probably had normal day-to-day jobs just like anyone else, but who took a week out of their lives to maybe be someone they're not, or maybe be someone that they are, whereas in their normal day-to-day life, they're being someone that they're not. If that sounds philosophical, it's just because I just made it up. But the point is, when you get on a motorcycle, you can sort of play dress up. You can put on a tutu, or you can put on leather chaps. You can ride yourself a Harley or an ATV bike, and you can be someone you're not. Or, alternatively, you can be the person that you are. I'm not a speed racer. I'm not necessarily an adventurer. I'm not a hipster. But depending on what I wear and the bike I choose to ride that day, I can pretty much be whatever I want. Sometimes all three in one day. That's kind of fun, right? So I guess this raises the obvious question of, if you don't care what people think of you, then why do you go to lengths to dress up and be someone you're not? And the answer is I don't. I just wear what I want to wear. I ride how I want to ride. I go where I want to go. I do what I want to do. And I do it for myself, not for anyone else. If you saw my recent video where I rented a Harley Davidson in Arizona, you know that it gave me a certain sort of feeling of power or something. I don't know, it's really hard to describe actually. But riding that Harley was something that I've always wanted to do, and it's a feeling I've always wanted to have. I wanted to see exactly what it felt like to be that guy. In the end, the one thing it taught me was, maybe I kind of am that guy. Maybe there's a little part of me that's the same person that I was watching when I was sitting on that couch in Laconia. Maybe I am an adventurer. Maybe I am a hipster. Nope. That's where I draw the line. My point is, I'm not trying to fake anything. I'm just letting it out. My neon blue tutu will be here on Monday. I'm not kidding. The chances of it fitting are next to zero, but we'll see. It's a women's running tutu. I'm looking forward to the weather clearing up a little bit and me and my riding buddy hitting the road in our tutus. I know that there'll be the inevitable comment from someone, but I also know that it's going to make a few people smile. And while I don't care what people think of me, I really do enjoy bringing a smile to people's faces sometimes. I mean, I guess maybe that's why I make these videos. I'm certainly not in it for the money or the fame. Back in high school, wearing my different colored sneakers and my Dump Nixon button and playing drums in Broken Llama, I got picked on a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. But I also made some people happy. I made some really good friends. Hell, I met my wife in high school. Somehow she looked beyond the sneakers and the Broken Llama, and I honestly don't know what she was thinking. But here we are, adults. Still living our lives, doing what we want, dressing how we want. Happy as clams. I'm not advocating that everyone who watches this video run out and buy yourself a tutu tomorrow. I'm advocating that you do it today. Not necessarily a tutu, but do something that brings a smile to your own face. And if that happens to make other people happy, cool. But just always remember, the main goal is to be yourself, whoever it is, that day, or that hour, or that minute.